We think we can talk over this music. We're not 100% sure.
Seems like it's working okay.
I might be talking right now, and I might be drowned out by the music. But we are here for a special live edition of Fired Up for Football. That's not to imply that all of the other editions of Fired Up for Football brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook have not been live. They have all been totally live. But this is a special edition because if you notice in the title of the segment, it is not Fired Up for Football. It is Fired Up for Football.
Oh, damn it! I'm going to fix it right now.
Football.
Hey, you know what? I'm just so excited about the Cowboys that I don't even spell anymore, John. Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Last night was the best version of a Cowboys win. Normally, I'm very upset after the Cowboys win, but they've been eliminated from the playoffs.
Yes.
And they helped the Rams get to the 3 seed. So
there you go. You're welcome,
Cowboys.
John.
Raise your hand if your team won this weekend.
There we go. Get those hands. Even get Nick in here. Nick, where are you at virtually? Raise your hand.
Nick, you can have your hand up too.
Oh.
Well, we decided as the music.
Is it just going to keep
going?
Gonna
keep playing it? You just want to keep playing the music?
I mean, if you want to, I can turn it off.
We assume that people can hear us over the music.
Yep.
Because this is all new. This is different.
Nick just commented. There he is.
There he is. He's got a hello
hand up
there. There we are.
Oh, that's great.
We thought we'd throw out some love to Warhorse, and it's such a busy week of football.
Yeah.
Plus, I kind of feel bad now, even though, we've got some great best ofs coming up this week. Our best of crossover. We like to think that our best ofs are the best ofs because you get a time capsule in chronological order of all of the insanity that has happened on the Grum. And at the same time, it feels like it's live because every segment ends with a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So, especially for those of you who maybe don't catch us from the very beginning, it'll be all new stuff to you. And it'll be funny to listen to all of our radically weird takes on just a variety of different things. So I hope that all of you get a chance at some point to just sit down and enjoy the best of crossover. No, they are not podcast, right?
They're not. Nick isn't. We podcasted them last year.
Did you?
Yeah, we not to brag, but I podcasted them, John, for the audience. I just instead of doing segment by segment, I released a 3-hour block for our great friends of the Grum. So we'll see what's happening this year. I cannot make any promises, though, I guess. You're right. Yeah. I can't make any promises.
But, we're here to get fired up for football today.
Oh, yeah.
But I almost feel like I wish we could have done a show today because of all the takes. Oh, my God, the takes from this weekend.
Oh, boy.
The college football playoff especially, just insanity. And now everyone's fighting each other about Indiana and all this other stuff. I don't know what you think. Well, I think I know what you think, Josh. And we tweeted out some things this weekend. Yes, I know that Indiana was going to get the lion's share of the attention because they got the lion's share of the attention all season. They were the cute story, right?
Yes.
But I wonder if that game had not been the first game. If every game played out the same. Right?
But it is like the noon game or the 3:30 game.
Yeah, let's say it's the second game. Let's say it's any game on Saturday. Yeah. Let's say SMU is the game that gets played on Friday night. I have a feeling there'd be a lot more angst towards SMU right now. I'm kind of surprised that there's not a lot more of the folks, barbing at SMU right now than they are Indiana. I get why they're going after Indiana, but I mean, to me, SMU looked less prepared than any team, or not prepared, but less ready for prime time than any of the teams I saw this weekend.
It was bad, man. And to, like we've talked a little bit about the punt from Cignetti on Friday and like, why not go for it? Some of the decision making in the game from Rhett Lashley was very perplexing. Like, I know that their backup quarterback is in the portal, but at a certain point, don't you have to do something? Don't you have to go to your backup quarterback to try to change things up a little bit? It was that I think was, of all the stink bombs, like I'll even forgive Tennessee because they're playing like one of the most talented teams in the country, right? I thought SMU had quite the stink bomb, though, in that performance versus Penn State. You bring up an interesting point. If the Notre Dame game isn't first, thus all of us are really in tune with it, maybe it gets lost a little bit. Like this is what happens when you take a step up in class. Sadly, the playoff in college football has had a lot of blowouts. Like that's I think the story of the college football playoff now through 11. We're not through a full iteration yet, but 11 iterations, John. Like it's a lot. When we don't get playoffs, it's like thank God. Or we don't get blowouts, rather. It's like thank God that the games are actually close.
Yeah, blowouts are going to happen. I do think, to me, right now, the bigger issue is seeding. I think you can still have, your guaranteed spots, but I think if you seed it in order, I saw an article today from DeCourcy. You would have gotten Indiana and SMU. I can't remember what the order is now, but the bottom line is this: the matchup probably would have been a little more even.
Yeah.
And to let teams like next week, we're going to get Boise State playing Texas, or no, Boise State's playing Penn State, and Arizona State's playing Texas. You're going to have two more games that are going to feel like, oh boy, this could get out of hand.
And the one seed is punished by having to play Ohio State in round two.
Exactly. There's
that's
reward
a preview of maybe
Oregon.
The national championship, John. Like the winner of that is going to be my favorite to win the title moving forward.
Listen, I'm not one to ever feel sorry for Oregon for anything because I don't really care for Oregon. But come on, they're the number one seed, the only undefeated team in the country, and their first playoff game they have to rematch against the only team, or the team they beat
by a point.
And sure, in some years that happens too in the NFL, right? It can happen, but that's not the real reward for the number one seed. The number one seed should be playing whoever the 12 seed is in this playoff, or whoever's the lowest survivor. And now it's going to be all messed up. And really we're kind of using up one of these potential marquee matchups in the quarterfinal round versus in a semifinal or a championship game. So I think the seeding's a bigger role. But going back to Indiana, and then we're going to get to Fired Up for Football. This is a product of these two large unwieldy conferences, right?
Yep.
We're going to get this every year. I think we're going to get an Indiana-like story every year. It doesn't have to be, this, woebegone program that's never been good ever rising to the top. But this could easily have been like a Kansas. This could have been a Wake Forest. This could have been a Vanderbilt. Where you're going to get one of these teams from these really large conferences that can't play a balanced schedule, that are going to get a great draw. They're going to win their games.
Yep.
And they're going to end up with 11 wins or so at the end of the line. And because, other teams like this year, maybe, had to go through more of a gauntlet and had more losses.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to happen, not because I don't think it's because of a playoff thing or a committee thing. I think it's because these conferences are too large. And I think you're going to see this more often than not. There's always going to be those teams that get in because they took advantage of a fortunate draw.
Yep.
And listen, if that's never going to be fixed, or if they can't be fixed, whatever. This is why I think it is so important that we still have good non-conference games so that we can actually try to compare these conferences one-to-one. I'm not going to sit here and say the Big Ten's better than the SEC because Ohio State beat Tennessee. We can't say that off of one game. But if we had more crossovers in the non-conference so that there's a little chance to compare, we hardly had any good crossovers this year. And
the ones that we did, you think about teams like Michigan, who took a massive step back, and so Texas gets that win, and in the end, it doesn't really matter a whole lot. Ohio State didn't play anybody in the non-conference. Oregon had Boise, which ended up being one of the more impactful non-conference games in the entire season. But yeah, the more unwieldy the leagues get, the more margin for error or I guess the less margin for error you almost feel like with the scheduling, just because you'll have a team like Ohio State that plays Oregon, Indiana, and Penn State. So they played the other 3 Big Ten teams. And then you'll get a team like Oregon who only played Ohio State, or a team like Penn State who only played Ohio State. And that's the thing, that you can't really control that, because, John, on the other hand, before the year, if I would have told you Indiana is going to go 11-1, you would have said, okay, first of all, I don't believe you. Second of all, wow, that means they're going to beat Michigan and Washington and Ohio, like some combination of Michigan, Washington, Ohio State, and Nebraska. You would have said those are some really good wins. But then suddenly Nebraska is a 500 team. Michigan is a 7-5 team. Washington takes a big step back. They beat the 2 teams that played for a national championship last year. And in the end, it's like, yeah, but their schedule was weak. Like, you can't control that. You can't control what teams make a run and which teams surprise and which teams don't. And, there is no obvious fix unless you want to break up the leagues and have a more controlled non-conference schedule. But until we get there, you're going to have seasons like this. I think you're right. The lesson from the 2024 college football season for me is get ready. We're going to have teams. And sometimes it's not going to be a team with the name of Indiana. It could be a team with the name Michigan. But for whatever reason, maybe they only play Ohio State, or Ohio State takes a step back and they only play one other good team. And suddenly you get to December and it's like, yeah, but who have they, Kool-Aid Steve voice, who have they beaten? And it's like, well, you can't control. Even the SEC teams, John. Texas is in the quarters. I think that Texas is a good team, obviously, but they only played Georgia. They played them twice and they lost to them both times. Like even in that league, which pound for pound, I think people still think, rightfully or wrongfully so, that it is the best league. And even in that league, you can go through a 12-game schedule, especially when you only play 8 conference games, and you can avoid the big dogs except for one team. So like, there's not an obvious fix. You can say, well, let's just schedule harder. Well, okay, good luck, because next year maybe Arkansas jumps up and suddenly Ole Miss is bad, and you don't know that when you're putting the schedule together. Again,
it's hard to compare because the schedules are imbalanced, and it's always going to be that way. I think if there's one area, and you're right, it's an uncontrollable. I would like to see the committee reward teams who at least attempted. If there's a tie on other fronts, of course, I'm not saying this is the only determiner, but
attempted to do
if they attempted to make a good non-conference schedule. Indiana did not do that. Okay.
No.
And so I would like to see in the future, a way to maybe give a little benefit of the doubt if a team did try to have, a better non-conference schedule. Because that's the one thing they can't control. They can't control whatever the league office computer barfs out, in June.
Sure.
And how that's all going to work. But yeah, I think to me, the bigger thing is get the seeding part correct. Let's do a proper logical seeding process, and then we can try to work on the other stuff later. But listen, Jack and I like to remind you all the time, back in our day, the playoffs weren't always great in the NFL either. So
you do. That's true.
That's right.
That's
so
true. That's true.
Enjoy 1994 NFL football.
Stan Humphries versus Steve Young in the NFL.
Oh my God, that's right. So true. All right. So
let's get fired up.
We're here to get fired up for football, powered by Warhorse Sportsbook. So this will take you through next weekend. And then on Monday, when we're back for a live Grum,
will we do it again?
We'll reset.
Okay, perfect.
Because then the playoffs, and then we can go into the playoffs, and then the final week of the NFL regular season. So
perfect.
Here we go. We'll start with the inconsequential bowls.
Look at a lot of ESPN over here, John. A lot of ESPN. There's not a game today. Is there not a bowl today? What? Not a bowl afternoon game? Oh, no, there is. John, there's a game in 30 minutes. The Myrtle Beach Bowl, Coastal Carolina versus UTSA, and then the Potato Bowl at 1:30, Fresno State at Northern Illinois. There you go. Bowl games before Monday Night Football.
I don't give a
Hey, we're allowed to do whatever we want on this, John. Say it.
I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be nice.
What a guy.
So Tuesday, tomorrow, it's Christmas Eve. You can unwrap presents to South Florida and San Jose State. I didn't bother to put down the names of these bowls because
that is the Christmas Eve Classic. That is the Hawaii Bowl, which when I think of Christmas Eve, John, as a child, I think of maybe opening one gift with my family. I think of watching Christmas movies, but I also think of having the Hawaii Bowl on while my mom finishes up dinner and barely paying attention before we actually get to Christmas festivities.
I want my blue-gray classic back. The blue-gray game, which was every Christmas day. It was an college all-star game of kids that didn't play in bowl games.
Nice.
The blue-gray classic. It was always on Christmas Day.
Bring it back so the players can opt out of it in 2025.
Yes. No bowl games on Christmas Day. Of course, the NFL owns Christmas now.
Yeah.
So Thursday, we're going to get a little Pittsburgh-Toledo action. That'll be fun.
That's the game above bowl, John, whatever the hell that is.
And how about Nebraska's new rival versus Nebraska's old rival?
Yes.
The Rutgers versus Kansas State.
And we talked about this game plenty. This is the Rate Bowl. For those who are wondering, could Nebraska play on Thursday the 26th? Had they played, this would have been the one. They would have played Kansas State. I'll be honest, I'm bummed. I would have rather they play Kansas State than Boston College. I think that'd be much more fun. And
Friday is just a full day of meaningless, inconsequential exhibition games, starting with Oklahoma and Navy. At 11 a.m. on Friday, and then Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt. It's going to be a lot of like brown and gold, a lot of gold in this game.
Yeah, seriously.
Did Vanderbilt play in a bowl game last year?
I don't believe so. I think they went.
I feel like we should be trumpeting this more. That hey, Vandy's in a bowl game, but then of course we can't point fingers because Nebraska's not been in a bowl game for 7 years.
I believe, John. Yeah, last year they were 2-10. The only time that they have been to a bowl game in the last, because they were the one team that people were like, how in the world have they made a bowl game since Nebraska hasn't? They made a bowl game in 2018. They lost the Texas Bowl, and so this is their first game since all the way back in Scott Frost's first year.
Look at this. The Southwest Conference is back, folks.
Let's go, baby.
Texas Tech versus Arkansas. Oh, man. Spike Dykes versus trying to think of old Arkansas coaches. Why am I drawing a blank?
Lou Holtz.
That's going way back. Ken Hatfield. There you go.
Ken Hatfield.
Classic. Yeah, Spike Dykes versus Ken Hatfield. That's what America's about, and it's a primetime game. And look, Fox gets a little bone. They get a bowl game of their own. It's Syracuse and Washington State.
Look at that. The Tony White leftover players continue to play on defense versus Washington State. How fun.
And another matchup of new versus old Nebraska rivals, USC and Texas A&M.
I had no idea. This is where, John, I learned that USC is playing Texas A&M in a bowl game. I had no idea. What bowl is this? This is the Las Vegas Bowl. How fun is that? Very cool.
That I would assume that's played in Las Vegas.
I would. That's probably a good guess.
And then Saturday. Wow, look at this. Just it's a nonstop orgy of inconsequential, meaningless exhibition games.
I had no idea the CW had a bowl this year, John. That's exciting.
They do.
Look at that. Miami of Ohio versus Colorado State at 3:30 in the afternoon.
So enjoy some hot CW action. And look, we get ranked on ranked games. We get Iowa State and Miami.
Nice.
At 2:30 on ABC. We get BYU and Colorado. You can either root for the Mormons or root for Prime, but you can't root for both.
And I believe he's been bullish on it. He said that the guys are playing for the last few weeks. So Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders.
Isn't that special?
There you go.
Of course, it all starts very early in the morning.
Yes, it does.
UConn and North Carolina. Man, that'd be a hell of a basketball game. Bowl game. It would. Now, I guess
remember that's the Fenway Bowl, John. It's in Boston.
Will Bill Belichick be there?
Yes, absolutely, he will be.
Well, he's not coaching in it.
Yeah, but it's his new team. He's going to be there. He's got to support his new team.
I suppose. Yeah. Let's see. What did we not mention? Oh, Louisiana and TCU. Nobody cares. No. Louisiana Tech and our Army. Look at
Nobody
that.
Cares.
Our Army.
Nobody cares.
They should.
Don't forget the game, John. You do click the next slide so we can get to the game that everybody cares about. There it is with overreaction following with you and McMaster. The first time. Have you talked to Matt yet? Will this be the first time you ever?
Did you call him McMaster?
McMaster.
Oh, I thought you were saying his name was Mick Master.
Oh no. I'm like, wait, isn't that his name? Did I get his
Yes,
name wrong?
it
I feel
is.
horrible.
It is. It
I
is.
feel
I just
horrible.
thought, just the way you said it, I thought it was you say it's our new co-host, Mick Master.
McMaster. McMaster.
Yes, yours truly and Matt McMaster will be on Overreaction after the game, and it will be just a thrill to react to this meaningless, inconsequential bowl game where people will certainly not overreact in any way if Nebraska wins big and looks really good. Oh, this means they're going to be great next year. Or if they play like crap and they lose. It
didn't matter in the first place.
It's going to be awful. Why did they have to hire that Holgerson guy? He can't coach.
I love that you are doing the post-game show. Of all the people at the Zone that should be on this, you are the guy. So
well, we're actually going to spend this time previewing the most important game of all on Saturday, and that, of course, is in the NFL when the Cardinals play the Rams, with the Rams having a chance to clinch the NFC West.
Wow, that time is wrong, right? Isn't that a 6:30 or 7 o'clock game?
Yeah, boy, I got a little ahead of myself, so I created these yesterday, and I forgot to change the times.
Oopsie poopsie. Because so the day begins with Chargers Patriots is the early game, right? So that is correct.
Yeah. Let me see if I can go in and fix that real quick.
You're gonna alter it real fast, and then that game.
I'm gonna alter it. I'm gonna alter the deal. Pray I don't alter.
This is gonna add like 5 minutes now to this segment because it's gonna take forever to upload into StreamYard again.
Well, that's true. It does take a while. So the Chargers and Patriots, that's at noon, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
And then the Broncos and Bengals is probably like 3:30.
Here, I'll look up the times for you. Let's see. Noon, 3:30, and 7:15. Those are the times. And the Netflix games, John's, are at noon and 3:30.
I got those right. I got those
right.
Okay. Yeah, I got those right.
Nick says this wouldn't have happened if you used Canva. Yeah, John, why didn't you use Canva? It would have worked out just great.
Canva's gonna correct the spelling error?
Yeah, Nick, that's true. Or the time error.
Yeah, it's not going to correct anything. It's just going to be a thing, It's like.
Also, while you do this, I'm very sad that the bowl games didn't have Michigan because I was going to hold up my book to remind everybody about Michigan.
Yes.
Go blue, baby. And
Frank F. French Toast and his book about the Michigan Wolverines.
The Rise, Fall, and Return of Michigan Football. What a book. Get it for your family members and put it in their stockings on Christmas morn.
The Cheaters of Michigan. Yeah. All right.
How's that graphic going, John?
Yeah, it's done. It just, it takes a while to upload.
It takes a bit to upload.
It's just a little late. But the Christmas Day games still have meaning. Obviously but now the Chiefs are in position where if they win,
just got to go 1-1 in the last two, and they're fine.
If they win, they are the number one seed. So it's important from that standpoint. The Steelers and Ravens are tied. And so, and that is, I believe, the only division that cannot be potentially decided in next week.
Yeah.
So that division is definitely, the decision in that division is going until week 18.
Nice.
So that's important. And the same thing with the Ravens. Now the Texans, they're locked in. So both these games are important.
Yes.
Then the Seahawks and the Bears, which is the Thursday game on Prime Video.
John's rooting for the Bears.
Yeah, we're definitely rooting for the Bears. But
good luck with that, John. Yeah.
By the way, did you know that there's a chance that it could come down to strength of record if there's a tie between the Seahawks and the Rams?
Wow. What is this, a Big Ten tiebreaker, John?
This is like college football. This is like deep NFL tiebreakers, strength of record.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and it's all of the teams that you don't have in common with the other. So the Rams have Buffalo. Yay, strength of record. But yeah, it's kind of a wonky deal. But hopefully we'll just clinch it next week and be done with it. So as Josh mentioned, Chargers Patriots at noon, Broncos Bengals at 3. Cardinals Rams 7:15 on NFL Network.
Can't believe Cardinals are eliminated now. It's like wild how much happened yesterday in terms of games or teams being eliminated. So pretty wild. Man, shout out to me. I got the 49ers thing right. I should have bought into the Rams a little bit more. I just was worried about your defense, and here they are going in the playoffs.
Here they are.
Yep.
All right. Now these are guesstimates.
Yes.
These are guesstimates because we don't have the maps out, but I think they're pretty safe. certainly Packers Vikings will be that's the best game of Sunday.
Dude, it kind of stinks that it's not on, obviously they weren't going to punt Cowboys Eagles, but I'd rather have Packers Vikings at night. Fox must have said, no way. You are not allowed to have this game, NBC. We are keeping this on Fox.
Yeah. So Packers Vikings will be at noon. I believe Jets Bills will be the game on CBS. So yes, we're all going to get stuck watching the Jets again for another week.
Yeah.
Because CBS, I mean, there's hardly any games for them to choose from. Not to choose from, but they were scheduled for them. So CBS, I mean, the guys on NFL Today could just take Sunday off because it's just they got nothing. And then Cowboys Eagles on Fox, and that's consequential. Well, maybe. I mean, I guess the Lions don't play till Monday, so the Eagles are still playing for a number 1 seed.
They are, yeah. They I believe,
but it's long odds now.
I think that they have to have. I think they would need both the Lions and the Vikings to lose this weekend, and they would have to win, and then they would have to win again, and then I guess whatever the Vikings-Lions game in Week 18, they would have to root for one of those two. It's the odds are very long now, given that they lost to Washington yesterday. I saw that like going into the weekend, I think they had like a 50% chance at the 1 seed, and now it's down to like 5%. So it's going to be really difficult. Most likely, the 1 seed is going to come down to Vikings-Lions Week 18, so that'll be pretty awesome. The winner is the 1 seed, the loser is the 5. Like, talk about a massive difference.
Well, and that's but let's say if Minnesota loses on Sunday to the Packers, I mean, we might not have any, outside of again deciding the AFC North and maybe a seed line here or there.
Yeah,
Week 18 might shape up to be very inconsequential. Yeah. If things break out in a certain way. So we'll have to wait and see. Falcons Commanders. Falcons now are in control of the South.
How crazy is that? The Bucs have looked like the better team pretty much all season, but because the Falcons beat them both times and then Tampa loses to Dallas last night of all teams, suddenly now Atlanta's back in the driver's seat. Absolutely wild. And they have a rookie quarterback out there. And another rookie on the other side of the field in Washington.
Now, there's still a chance. The Commanders have not clinched a playoff spot. And the Falcons are one of the teams that could take it from them. So this has kind of got dual importance. Obviously, the Falcons want to stay in first place, but they could still jump in and take the wild card. So Sunday nights has some meaning behind it. And it'll be the first real chance in a nationwide broadcast to see Jaden Daniels. I don't think they've been in a main primetime window, have they?
Not since remember when they were on that Monday night game against Cincinnati, but that was like September. So, that was one of the not doubleheaders too. So they were on at the same time as someone. So yeah, this is going to be the first real chance for a lot of people to see him. He made some huge plays yesterday against Philadelphia. And this will be our first chance to watch Penix as well, given that they played the Giants yesterday, and so very few people saw that one.
And this one was looking to be a great matchup when the schedule was announced way back when. But Lions 49ers, it means something for the Lions, obviously. It means nothing for the 49ers, who are just in a tailspin. So
God, that is crazy. Go. Yeah, you put that on the schedule in August, and you're like, oh my gosh, that could be for the 1 seed. And now, I mean, one team is playing for the 1 seed, but the other is eliminated from the playoffs. Crazy.
Entirely. All right. I'm going to give the college slate a C this week.
I mean, I guess there were no playoff games, right? So we're just looking
at the playoff games. We don't have playoff games until the 31st.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to, there's a lot of games, so you'll be able to watch just about any time you want.
Yeah.
But, they're all exhibitions, and who knows who's opting out and not. But I'll give the college slate a C. The NFL, it's spread out.
It is.
But
I'm going to go D for college, and I'll go B for NFL, because there's just enough.
D for college. Oh, my, you hater.
Well, I know. The bowl games don't mean anything. But, the NFL windows, like, there are some bad ones, like the noon Saturday. Stinks. Like, I don't want to watch the Patriots. Though I guess they gave the Bills a game yesterday, so maybe it'll be interesting.
Now, the good news is on Saturday, you don't have to watch Chargers-Patriots, because you'll have that game.
Oh, that's right. We'll be watching Nebraska. That's true. So, yeah, it's not so bad, but the Netflix games couldn't have worked out any better.
Yep.
The primetime games are fairly solid. So, yeah, I'll go B NFL, D college. We'll go C overall.
I'll give college a C. I'll give NFL a B. So a solid B minus.
There you go.
Solid B-.
Fired up for football.
There you go. Fired up for football, brought to you by our good friends at Warhorse Sportsbook. So all this week, we've got the best of crossover with you, me, Nick, Connor Happer, occasional guests in there as well. So check that out all week long. And Nick says he's going to podcast it. And then we will be back for a live Grum next Monday. So we'll get a chance to recap the bowl game. We'll spend maybe 4 or 5 minutes on it because, again, it's inconsequential. It gives a crap.
Nice.
And I'll have used up all my takes, on Saturday. But we'll certainly recap the Husker game. We'll put a bow on the season. We'll
preview the playoff games.
And we'll have playoff games to look forward to because we'll have playoff games on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So
yeah, including 2, and we'll obviously get fired up for these in a week. Dude, the 2 later games on Jan 1 are just bangers. Like those are, it sucks that they are quarterfinals. I think the winner of each of them is going to go to the national championship game. So like that's what's at stake on January 1st. So we'll talk about the Rose Bowl. We'll talk about the Sugar Bowl. We'll talk about the other 2 as well. But
Sugar Bowl, that's right. I gotta dig through my closet and find the Sugar Bowl poll that we all dance around every year because as we know, it is America's greatest sporting spectacle. And it might actually be a good sporting spectacle this year, the Sugar Bowl. All right. So I think we've accomplished what we wanted to today. Appreciate everyone being out there. Josh, you and Riss and your family have a very Merry Christmas.
You do the same, John. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to all of our listeners. Thanks for joining us for this surprise Fired Up for Football on this Monday morning.
All right. We'll see you on Monday on 1620 The Zone and all the ancillary channels. And have a great Christmas, everyone.
Bye.